I believe it is vitally important that the special counsel be allowed to complete his investigation.
Will you commit to providing Mr. Mueller with the resources, funds, and time needed to complete his investigation?
Yes.
Will you commit to ensuring that Special Counsel Mueller is not terminated without good cause, consistent with department regulations?
Absolutely.
That was President Trump's nominee for Attorney General William Barr in his Senate confirmation hearing this week, vowing to let Special Counsel Robert Mueller complete his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Barr, who served as Attorney General once before under President George H.W. Bush, promised to act independently of his new boss, Mr. Trump, who has frequently attacked the Department of Justice. George Terwilliger served as Barr's Deputy Attorney General in the Bush administration. He was at this week's confirmation hearing. So welcome. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
So the Bill Barr said, I want this investigation to continue. I will not fire him except for cause. Was that the right thing to do?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think at this point, given the politics that sort of surround the whole question of the Mueller investigation, what Bill presented and what that statement reflects is, you know, a steady hand that will be on the tiller of the Justice Department, assuming Bill's confirmed.
Okay, so, but here's my one question. If a president orders you as Attorney General to do something, isn't your obligation to say yes? So if he said fire the special counsel, isn't your obligation to say yes, I will do that, or say, sir, I'm sorry, I cannot in good conscience do that, and then resign?
Well, that's exactly right, and perhaps a middle ground would be, and frankly, knowing Bill and seeing how he's operated over the years, Mr. President, let's think about that a little bit.
Right, before it came to sort of that kind of a pass. All right, well, that'd be good counsel. All right, so what about this question of recusing himself from the special counsel probe because of the memo he wrote as a private citizen questioning this theory of obstruction of justice for having fired James Comey as FBI director? Is that enough for recusal, as some Democrats seem to suggest?
It doesn't seem that way to me. I think it's kind of a red herring, to be honest with you, Paul. I mean, lots of lawyers have had thoughts and had discussions among themselves about a number of legal issues surrounding the Mueller probe and the issues that it's addressing. The fact that Bill took the time to carefully put his down on paper and share them with people to whom they might be relevant, I don't find particularly remarkable or disabling in any way. Obviously, when he gets to the department and gets a full set of facts and understands what's going on, his views on some of the matters in there may be affected by that. Certainly, you know, your legal analysis is always a product of the relevant facts, and Bill did not have the relevant facts. He assumed some for purposes of illustrating why at least one particular narrow theory of obstruction of justice would be flawed. Okay.
Now, another issue that was raised at the hearings is making the Mueller report eventually public. And Mr. Barr said, look, I will do that as much as I can, subject to the rules that relate to special counsels in the Justice Department, which Democrats suggest would be somehow covering up. But as I look at this, it's going to be very hard for him not to make nearly all of it public. Would you agree?
I would agree to a certain extent, Paul. You know, he promised transparency, and he said over and over again, I lean towards transparency, I want transparency. But there could be reasons why parts of that report could not or should not be disclosed. For example, if there's classified material. But in addition to that, we've all seen in the last couple of weeks that in a number of the pleadings that Mr. Mueller's office has filed in court, there have been significant redactions from those pleadings. Presumably, those are there in order to protect the integrity of the investigation and not compromise further investigation. Those same factors may be present at the time a final report is written, because there may be investigations that will be ongoing and referred to other parts of the Department of Justice.
And even if the Attorney General decided not to release the full report. Presumably Congress, the House of Representatives, could subpoena it. And knowing Washington as you do, I mean, that's going to leak. The whole thing's going to leak. That would be my conclusion.
Well, you're probably right based on empirical evidence of history. I would hope that would not be the case given the subject matters, and rather that we would follow a process of law, including concerning congressional access to executive branch documents.
Well, here's another question I have. He comes in, and let's say he doesn't recuse himself. He's now the Attorney General of the United States. Mueller clearly reports to him. He's not. He's an inferior officer to the Attorney General. Could the Attorney General say, look, Mr. Special Counsel, you've been doing this now. It'll be 2 years in May. It's even longer if you go back when the FBI started its counterintelligence investigation. Let's wrap this up. Let's get it out. And for the good of the country, let's finish it up. Can he say that to him?
Certainly. Certainly. I mean, one of the things that I think has become a bit of a misapprehension about the position and the role, the proper role of a special counsel under this regulation is that it's totally akin to an independent counsel under the old statute that operates outside the Justice Department. Congress, on a bipartisan basis, as you know, Paul, decided that those kinds of independent counsels were a really bad idea.
Right.
No prosecutor should be completely untethered from the Justice Department or untethered from supervision. I think Bill would supervise with a light hand, but a necessary one where the circumstances so dictate.
All right. Thank you, George Terwilliger. Appreciate your coming in with that insight.